family. This is the comic book dream that you always and never knew you needed. This is the Back to Basics, a comic book podcast, and we are the team with the dream. We who love this medium so much, we got together and joined forces to give you exactly what you want, a different type of geekdom to wrap your heads around. If you're looking for something new, refreshing, tailored to the nostalgia of yesteryear, or you're a new collector, which ain't a bad thing, we're looking to get you some knowledge right now and some experience just to get you started off on the right foot. So you've come to the right place. That's what I'm just trying to say. My name is Gen X, and I am the Porter Rock extraordinaire. You'll hear that probably throughout this whole time because I'm very connected to my roots. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, by way of parents from the island known as Boriken, aka Puerto Rico. And I love this community, and I'm so blessed to be friends with so many people, particularly these amazing folks and co-hosts here. So I do this regularly with them, and we try and engage our comic book community like no other. Our goal is to be your pilot for the next hour. Make sure that it's interactive as possible. So what we want to do is make sure that you are interacting with us today, okay? So in essence, we will have some chats going on onto the side, and we'll make sure that you are a part of the experience. So that's a little about me. Next.
What's going on, people? My name is Miss Ebony Keys from the Sunshine State, and I am proud to be here with you all to throw some education your way while I captivate your minds that bring us back to basics. This trio has been working hard, y'all, working very hard to change the game, and we don't do it without the support of our community, friends, and family. And
big facts. And it's your boy Temple. You know who it is. Coming at you, bringing comics, culture, everything to your ear. And I'm always going to flex. I got the best sets, complete sets. I dare anybody come see me. Let's go. Let's bring it back to basics.
Let's go. So again, we are so excited. We were so geeked. We started this podcast because, again, we noticed something was gone awry in our community and was missing. We wanted to reset the button, or press the reset button, I should say. We also saw that a lot of the things that we were seeing in the medium was kind of status quo. So we wanted to break the mold. We wanted to want to have representation from all identities. We believe that the stories that are told are a reflection of the human experience, and we go deep. So watch our other episodes. We talk about issues about race, ethnicity, gender, mental health, on and on and on, like Donkey Kong. So we also highlight amazing artists, writers, publishing companies, creators, known and unknown, and by interviewing them, we highlight exactly what this is all about, us, and giving them their shine. You can count on us to tackle themes that we always wanted to bring, and always want to make sure that we bring it back to basics. So enough of the pretext. Your mission, if you choose to help us out, we need every single one of y'all. We're trying to reach some milestones. Make sure that you tell your family, your uncle, your cousin, your aunt, your next door neighbor, the person that used to babysit you, anybody and everybody that you have any connection with. Make sure they subscribe to our channel. They can be like, why? Well, because we're awesome. And we like and share everything on our platforms all over the place. So make sure you're following us. We are personalities in our own right, on Instagram in particular. So we'll talk more about that if you want more information. We're going to flex our powers for good and not for evil. We're going to keep you informed. And in all seriousness, we really need your support and help. So we're always learning from each other and bringing things back to the great days of collecting is what it's all about. So back to basics will be in your vocabulary. Maybe it might be in the dictionary vocabulary in the future with all our faces on it. So now back to the show. I promise you, we will make sure that we get to the amazing person and guest who will be a part of this conversation. Now back to the show, and here is a preview of our special guest project from the Clash Digital Publishing and their awesome book. I can't wait for them to put out the rest of the issues. The awesome book, Terminus Bell. So we're going to be showing that video in a few seconds, and here we go.
Sick Fishes.
That was exciting. All right, guys. All right. So now, if you are the type of person that enjoys a fine blend of action, sci-fi, and mystery in your comic book, Terminus Bell is for you, people. It's for you. Now, the folks over at Class Digital Publishing are hard at work giving you a diverse universe that gives you all the action and espionage anyone can handle. The series is slated to run for a long time, but they still have 4 to 5 issue arcs, so you can get a good full story in a reasonable amount of time. They are very passionate about the quality of the book and are obsessively working to make it better each issue. They entertain their customers by telling action based stories that include a diverse set of characters that our customers can relate to. Now, Terminus Bell was created by Jack Harris Jr., a fresh voice for new comics in 2022. With epic, action driven storylines and a diverse cast of characters, Terminus Bell proves that heroism comes in all colors, which we like. We like a little diversity, the diversity.
What you mean
All
by
right,
all of us? I mean,
about all of us,
yeah.
all of us. So Jordan Gunderson provides stunning line art with beautiful inks by B. Rolfs, and the colors are masterfully done by Yulia Shitsova. Jack is passionate about creating high quality, entertaining comics with characters from all walks of life and ethnic backgrounds. You deserve to see your You have to see it for yourself, reflected in an unforgettable story. Jack's obsession with comic books and video games grew up with him, and he has built an unstoppable team of talented artists who share his passion for captivating, action packed comics.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, what we've been waiting for.
Hey,
The
it's an
man,
awesome intro.
man with the plan right there, y'all. Everybody, welcome to Back to Basics podcast show. Jack Harris Jr.,
Yeah.
which is the creator of Terminus Bell, y'all.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
How's it going?
Great, doing great. Great to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So, Jack Harris Jr., we are elated to have you join us today. So, first off, I'm gonna start off by saying, why don't you share your origin story with us all? Because the world wants to know. World wants to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Since I was, really small, 6 or 7, I was, been reading comics. And I loved reading them so much. Me and my cousin would just talk on the phone and draw our own comics and think of characters and go back and forth. And it's kind of always what I thought I would do. And then, I found out not as good at drawing, but really good at math. And so, ended up being a computer programmer as far as a career, and but always had in the back of my mind that I was going to do it and, eventually get to it. And, I've been thinking of the story Terminus Veil for, since 2009, and just writing on it, adding on it. And about 3 years ago, I was just like, hey, it's time. Like, it's time to do it. It's time to get it done. And, so I started writing the script, and now we're here. So
Nice.
I mean, to get on top of that, I kind of want to piggyback on that. So tell us a little bit more about Terminus Veil. What is it about? Who are the major characters? Break down the story. Why is there so much chaos?
Yeah.
There was a lot going on. A lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, so I mean, Terminus Bell is about this private security team called Guardians International, and they are, known for basically protecting high value innovations and inventions, as well as bodyguarding people as well. And their leader, Chuan, who isn't in one actually, is funny, but he's featured heavily in issue 2, heavily in issue 3. Has kind of been keeping a bit of secrets, and he he's playing at a game that no one really kind of knows, and so there is an equal and opposing force on him, and we do get to see him at the end of issue 1 in Terminus Bell, Dr. Clarence, who is a scientist and kind of a an executive at this major corporation called Dynamic Technologies, and he just does not like Chuan. He does not like the Guardians at all, and he's kind of behind a lot of theft of IP around the world. So these two guys just kind of are clashing, and that's what Terminus Veil is really about. And it's why are they clashing? You know, what's going on? It's kind of what's being unveiled issue by issue by issue.
Right. I ain't gonna lie. I need this to be a movie already. I need to see this.
So one of the biggest, I think, connectors here is, and I think you put this in your website and all your materials, is about the whole emphasis on diversity and inclusion with your characters in particular, and kind of representation within the comic book. Tell us why this is such a part of your storytelling in particular, and what is in the key areas of interest specifically. But how does it drive your storytelling, and or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just you're telling a story with characters who have different personalities and identities. But can you talk a little about what that inclusion and diversity piece that was really at the forefront?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can start, and I think for me, you have to start at my childhood as a comics lover, and I'm a huge fan of X-Men and Wildcats and books like that. But we're watching shows, the '90s cartoons, morning shows, and you see, uh, Storm is pretty much the soul. She's holding down the fort for black characters at that time, right? Like, and there's really no one else. And so I didn't want when I created this book, I didn't want people who have never seen themselves or seen themselves very limited or very just in not all different lights, right? I think that's the I wanted to show that people of any color, any race could really be any type of character, whether that was a hero, whether that was a villain, and why they were villains, why they were heroes, what all of that we could it could be totally different than the kind of status quo we've seen or with some from some books traditionally. So it was just a big deal for me. I've got 2 daughters, so I definitely wanted them to see the idea of powerful women, because that's not again that's something again that wasn't heavily highlighted in previous ages in comic books. So to me, it's just very important.
Right. All
Big
right.
facts.
Big facts. You're talking about my girl Storm now. But hey,
Yeah, no, I love Storm. I love Storm.
We all love some Storm.
Yeah.
Tempo, you better back off.
I listen. You already know. Wait, she's actually creating an outfit for Storm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how's that going?
Oh, it's done. It's done.
Look at you.
It's done. All right, but that preview will be coming out pretty soon, so be on the lookout. Not saying anything else. All right.
We were hoping you would do it during skydiving, so that would
man.
Look,
dressed
I told
up as
you,
Storm, jumping out
I'll
of
just
a helicopter.
float. I'll just float.
Nice.
I won't fall. I'll just float. But all right, back to the question. See, getting off topic. Let's get it back to basics, y'all. Back to basics. All right. All right. So, Jack, what is the long-term plan for Terminus Bell? And are there any other titles you can give us a sneak peek on? And will there be any spin-offs of any characters that because I'm gonna tell you right now, Miss Bird, that's my girl already. That Bird, that's my girl. I love her.
So right now the long-term plan for Terminus Veil is, I know that we're going to go to 10 issues to get to what we'll call volume 1. in the very short term, in July, we're set to do a Kickstarter for basically a trade paperback of issue 1 through 4, with also some extra kind of bonus material, character bios, supplemental story pages as well, all together, and call that the Terminus Bell debut collection, which we'll really try to get that in stores all around the U.S. and as far as wherever else we can go. So that that's the short term plans. We don't have any books in production, any other titles in production. Like we're just laser focused on Terminus Bell right now. But we started to kind of go down the path of possibly looking into doing something that's kind of a manga type feel. And I think we'll start developing that in the next few months. It probably won't go to production till maybe a year from now, but it's definitely an idea that we've been seeing. Just going to cons and talking to people. There just seems to be a lot of demand for that, and it's something that would be very interesting to us.
Well, you couldn't see Tempos' eyes
No.
behind his glasses, but my gosh.
As you can see, big up to Naruto.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? I have a question, but I want to ask specifically. I want to piggyback on, because we were talking about Storm. Who's another character, maybe a story or a character that you grew up on that actually got you into the genre of reading comics? That was like, you know what? I need to do this. I need to read these comics. I want to get into comics, and I want to start writing comics and creating.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really got to be Wildcats. I started reading that in Grifter, and that book, and just fell in love with Jim Lee's artwork and his style. And then I started reading more books that Wildstorm, the production company, started to put out, like Wetworks and Gen 13, and just everything from a Backlash. And so that was just like reading that really, I think part of them, the fact that Image itself was kind of indie and it made it feel like anybody could do it. I mean, obviously there were really great artists and really great writers there, but this is kind of what I think I took that from it too as well. And so when I was 12, 13, it was just what I kind of patterned myself after researching them and trying to figure out all the stuff they did.
Nice.
Not to interject, but I actually thought when I read your book, I actually was like, this is very Wildstormy, and like I'm glad that I finally figured out that piece, because I was like, wow, it looks like Jim Lee. It's got Will Sportasio. It's got all these other like Image influences were really cool, like the Wetworks, like you said. So I appreciate that. That's really cool.
And I don't mean to flex, but it's kind of what we do. But Wildcats, I do got the complete sets.
All right. Yeah, I feel it.
I'm a big indie fan. Me and one of my our homeboy, Almost Vintage. We're big indie fans, and when it comes to, because I would rather support indies like Image, because how they came to be, of getting from DC and Marvel and all those, strict down the line. This is how it has to be. So they kind of took their stuff out of it to do their own thing, and they came out with those beautiful stories that we all love today. And I'm sitting on them, and I'll never get rid of them. But enough about you already know, because a lot of your comics that I'm reading it, and I'm like, man, it's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of stuff going on. Everything is precise, nice, origin story. Everything is perfect. This is gonna be one of those indie comics that it needs to be a movie. I really hope this becomes a movie. But I do have a question. I was looking on the Instagram, and I see that you've been to you're doing a lot of shops in the LCS, and you do Comic Cons. How is that? Is that something that's a big experience to you? Like, what'd you learn from those kind of going out to those LCSs and doing selling there and doing connects and everything?
Yeah, it's it was definitely a bit different, because you're sitting at a table, and you got to get used to the idea of like, hey, catching somebody's attention, especially when you're I've got one book, right, and one story, and so I have to kind of generate a lot of interest by talking to people and bringing them in. But I mean, I've really liked it. We went to Awesome Con last year. It was our first con, and it's weird to kind of travel for one. But we're based in Atlanta, and we flew out to Washington D.C. for Awesome Con last year, and it was a great experience. I learned a ton from just the people who are around me and the their tables. I got to talk to a lot of creators, made a lot of friends actually from it. A couple guys. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Bigfoot Knows Karate book, but Dan, he was the table right next to me. I got to talk to him, and we still talk today on Instagram. So yeah, it was cool to meet creators there. I just did ATL Comic Con about a month ago, and met a ton of creators there. Um, Somebody's trying to call me. I don't know what's going on.
Your fans are seeing you on a live
already. They're like, wait, I got to
Yeah,
get
I have
on
no.
this as well. They want to share.
I have no idea what's happening.
and that
Oh, okay. I got an
and-
alarm. Sorry.
Oh, good. Speaking about your fans, like how does a lot of your fans, react and responses from your fans? How's that go?
It's cool, man. When I was at ATL Comic, I can talk about this. This was probably one of the biggest moments. Was somebody was from I want to say Illinois. And she came down and she was just like, "Yeah, I wanted to meet you at the con." I was like, "You came from Illinois?" I don't know if it was just to go to see me. I know she did a lot of stuff at ATL Comic Con, but it was like, wow, all right, like I really, you really somebody that's really interested is far away. It kind of really feels different. And to see somebody in person like that, so that's a great experience. And then we have, fans have been overall pretty good. We've got an email list, and some people email me back when I broadcast out and get to talk to them about comics. So it's always a good experience just meeting fans.
That must be a great. I wish we, one day we'll be doing that, but hopefully we get to meet in person one day because I definitely want to, that going to Comic Cons and talking to people and stuff like that. I know that's probably like a life changer when people know your stuff and
Right.
they ask you questions about your characters and things like that. That must be an awesome experience.
Yeah. No, it's hard to express how it feels. You know what I mean? Because it is so just fun and exciting.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk about the folks who show up that are your fans. Just as a follow up, just as a part that I'm just curious about. Anybody show up in cosplay of any of your characters yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. That'll be really cool when I see that. I'm gonna have to take a picture, get a whole video,
Yeah.
and put it on the site because that would be just the hugest deal in the world.
Yeah, and I think it also again it sets the stage for other things. But your book is great, man. Seriously, I actually opening up the book. I actually was surprised at how much action you put in it. I mean, throughout the whole book.
I know, right?
I was reading it, even though you had some some conversations. It actually flowed really well. I loved all the artists that were actually all the folks who are participatory in telling your story. I wanted to ask you about that because I know publishing books and all that can be kind of a headache in a sense, and then making sure that you have consistency across your books with the artists, the inkers, and so on and so forth. Tell us a little bit about that process because I think that folks don't understand how difficult it is. One, to keep some of those folks who are sometimes just on commission and just doing their own thing, and then another project might pull them somewhere else. Yeah. Or how do you keep them interested and say, "Hey, can you stay on my project for at least another few issues and finish it?"
I wish I could answer that last part because that's the part I haven't been able to do. But no, the first issue with Jordan, he was the line artist, the penciler, and he told me when we first started, like, hey, I've got a commitment. Basically it was done when we first started that project. It was in the middle of COVID, and he actually had to take he had a while before a lot of his projects were going to start getting funded that he was already working on. He had already committed to. And so, I kind of caught him right in the middle of it and was like, hey, can you do issue 1 for me? And he thought he was going to be able to do issue 1 and 2, but, scheduling time, he ended up being able to do issue 1. And so, I knew I was going to have to go and get another artist for issue 2. And Giuliano, I worked with on issue 2. And he was pretty good. Felt like we needed to make a change for issue 3. Went with Scott Oakley, and he did a good job as well. And then but again, another change had to be made, and we're now with Delio Diaz and Frank Alpazar with Lustra Box Studios, and they're working on issue 4. They're committed to issue 5. They feel pretty good that we can get all the way to issue 10 with me. So that's what the plan is today.
Right.
But you've got to be. I think when you are where I'm at, which is I'm self-publishing. I'm breaking the ice for a lot of people just to know about us. You got to be ready to pivot. Just kind of part of it, because again, am I Marvel? Am I DC? Am I somebody who's already got distribution in 50 stores or 100 stores? Like, no. So it's gonna be a bit of a challenge, but I think as I do issue by issue, it gets a little easier. And the conversation is a lot different than it was when I was talking to Jordan for issue 1 and I had nothing to show but a script and a few pieces of concept art. So it's a lot different now.
So, I mean, you just painted a picture of an entrepreneur who's literally has to, like you said, pivot and move around.
Right.
What would be, your suggestion for anyone who's, thinking, contemplating going independent? Yeah,
I mean, I think, if they're depending on what you do and what you're trying to bring to the table. With me, I'm just I'm a writer, so it's a a little more difficult, I think, from a writer standpoint than if you are a person who does your own art. Because if you're doing your own art, you probably finding a writer is a lot easier than finding an artist, and getting a writer to commit is probably easier than getting an artist to commit for a long period of time, because it just takes a lot longer to do art than it takes to write scripts. But from a writer standpoint, I would just say, like, hey, if do your homework on the people who you are trying to do work with. If you can talk to somebody who's worked with them before, that's gonna help you out a lot, because you'll get an understanding of scheduling and time, and that's going to be the the number one thing you're trying to figure out all the time. Is, if it's a 22-page book you're trying to deliver, well, how fast can you get 22 pages of artwork from this artist? Because it's going to be you're committing to telling everybody about your book and your story, and you want to be able to tell them, like, hey, it's going to be out in 3 months or 4 months or whatever. Right. And that's it's not always going to play out that way if you don't do your homework early. So yeah. I would say that's probably the biggest deal.
That's a big hustle. You kind of alluded to one of the questions that folks put on the stream. I just want to put it up on the screen real quick. It's from Keynote Comics. He said, how hard was it to start writing? I know he himself is a writer, trying to get himself published as well. Was there anything that held you back before you finished?
From the writing standpoint, it wasn't too hard. I used to, I'll tell everybody this, but you guys are really cool. I used to rap when I was basically in college, and for about 7 to 8 years, I really tried to do it. And so writing was kind of already something that I had a lot of practice with, like, because you just get used to it when you're writing verses. You get used to writing, and you kind of get that same, because of comic books and how you don't want to fill up a page with words. You want the art to be showcased as well. So it's kind of the same type of feel, like how you kind of are on beats. You don't want to be just rapping all over the beat. Like, you do want the beat to have its time to shine, and that's kind of the same way. You got to let the art shine as well. and you're trying to trying to synergize. So it was kind of natural to me as far as can I spit some bars now?
Okay.
Yeah. It's a while ago. Now you're gonna put me on the spot. See, you can't tell nobody. No, you can't ever tell anybody anything. No, but but yeah, no, it's so nothing really held me back from the writing side. Like most of it has been just trying to find artists. The first part of just finding them out, seeking them out. Working out to the point where you get to the contract. And then after that, it's just production. Going through checking things. Checking the artwork, that kind of editor type stuff.
Just to piggyback on that, let's say if you had a chance to collab with one artist, and like a big name artist, who would that be? I know you said Jim Lee earlier. We talked about Jim Lee, but in your sense, background, someone that you want to collab with to do like one issue, one beautiful, even a cover, who would that be?
Man.
Uh-oh.
So
while we wait, Tempos.
That question.
There we go, Jack. We lost you for a second. Yeah.
My phone is just. I apologize. No, it would be Jamal Campbell.
We can't hear you.
I can hear him.
Thank you.
Oh.
Now, how about now? Good. Can you hear me? Cool. Sorry for this technical difficulties. Yeah, no, it would be Jamal Campbell. He's recently he's working on Superman right now, and I'm sure I'm going to buy that as soon as it gets to the point of trade. He's done Far Sector, which I think is maybe one of the most gorgeous books that's been put out.
Right.
So yeah, if I could work with anybody, it'd be Jamal Campbell.
Nice.
You heard it here, Jamal.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Reach out, whatever it takes.
If you got any family members that are watching, make sure that you reach out to this man, Jack.
So, and going back into Terminus Bell, a lot of these characters, is there people in your lives that kind of influence some of these characters?
Yeah. There are. I think some of them aren't so many people that are current in my life, but people that I've met for a lot of the characters. Some of them are just characters I just kind of made up and thought about, and but some of them are like teachers I've had, and for some characters that haven't been introduced quite yet in the book. I think Dash is a character that is probably based a lot around me, and so yeah, I try to draw as much as I can from real life, as I can. Yeah.
Nice.
So you're a badass, huh?
Is that how Dash felt in the first issue? I didn't know he felt like a badass.
You know what?
But
when I read the first couple lines, I was talking to Jen, and I read the first couple lines, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Because the first, he was like, the dude walked. I'm not gonna say. I don't want to.
Let's not spoil that. That's a very.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, especially because it's YouTube. But the way he walked, it was like, "Oh, you do this and that," and then she's like, "Oh, but wait, you was flicking." I want the people to go into that comic and just read it, because the first couple reads is like, oh my god, this is gonna be a good comic. They going in. But you know what? The antagonist, I don't mean to cut you off, Jan. The antagonist, his outfit, beautiful. I love his outfit. If I was to cosplay, that would be an outfit right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The glasses, the coat. He looks like a badass. I like him.
Yeah.
I might jump out the plane like that.
That's
right.
Yeah.
I've been in Vegas. We're going to Vegas, and we're actually going to be there at their.
Oh, nice.
So, but I don't think they'll let me jump out looking like Red Hood. So
he just wants to jump out of an airplane. That's like his big goal right now, is to jump out of an airplane with our homeboy Marcus.
Yep.
And listen, I'll be in the ground watching and recording.
Okay.
It'll be the first time that I feel like I'm flying. You know what I mean? Or
Oh, you
maybe
be
not.
flying all right.
Yeah,
You
to
Yeah.
the
be
ground.
flying to the
Let's have one
exactly.
Latino. We don't need two Latinos flying in the air.
That's true. That's true.
We'll be on the news. Leave me on the ground.
I do want to say about your book. I do love. It has a nostalgia to it. It reminded me of the '80s. Maybe that was deliberate. But was there? What was? I was going to ask you, what's your favorite cartoon that when you were growing up? But I think I might say maybe GI Joe. But your book is very has a lot of different themes or thematic areas. So thinking about that and the influences, what were some things and maybe I'm reading into it, the nostalgia behind it, but what is it nostalgia? Why is it in that vein that I pick up on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of I don't know if I had the vision to see how issue one was going to turn out art wise when I started it, but when Jordan agreed and Yulia agreed, and I kind of seen how their styles would kind of mesh. It just kind of fell into that area where it really had that kind of old school with the kind of watercolory type of color style to it. So it does have a really cool look to it. That's kind of a retro. You know, am I? I'm a child of I'm born in '82, so I'm a child of the '80s and '90s. So all of those GI Joe, Transformer, Thundercats, all that kind of stuff is my love. Like I still, I was
Yes,
watching
sir.
just the old X-Men
Yeah.
show, holding my baby up in the middle of the night last night. We were just watching it. So it's like, hey, that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? As far as style, but I do like to take stuff from current stuff or newer stuff that I've got influences like that, and I would say for this book, one of the biggest influences was probably Ghost in the Shell.
Hmm.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
You did talk to Tempos earlier about the manga anime piece. You want to elaborate a little more? I'll let I'll put that out there. I know that's not part of your comic book, but how is that playing? Because that's a different type of medium.
Yeah,
But I think the storytelling is a little bit in line of what you put on paper, which is kind of cool. The action oriented piece. So you want to talk about your attraction to anime?
yeah. I mean, I think there's been watching probably the first one I ever watched was DBZ. Kind of, or maybe Ronin Warriors actually technically is probably the first one I seen.
Road Wars. Okay, you going
Yeah,
back?
yeah. And I didn't even know anime. I just thought it was a cartoon, regular cartoon that came on. And but yeah, it was probably the first one that I really watched. And as newer ones started hitting the scene in the early 2000s, Naruto, Bleach, um, Full Metal Alchemist,
Okay.
all those. Big fan of all of those. I love the ideas of, especially from Naruto, the idea of an epic, and watching a character come from, somebody that looks, like a scrub almost to being somebody who's like, whoa, this person's, what do you even do with this person now? They can't be handled. I love to
Right.
watch that transition of somebody going from that to that higher level. So I try to take some of that to the book. I love some of the technical stuff that you see that I think you see in shonen type, manga and anime where, the fighting gets to a point where it's like, hey, like, how do you counter this guy's move that is, specially created for this and all that. So I love that part of it. And I do try to bring some of that feel to Terminus Bell with the ideas of, hey, like these guys got these shields. These shields can kind of do special things. What can you do with these shields? And then how do you counter them? And all of the back and forth that kind of, heroes versus villains kind of do.
Like they
Love
got to
it.
one up each other constantly. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean,
Uh,
that being with anime, I mean, you have so much to do, especially when you have an anime background. I mean, we got Trigun, we got
Mm,
Outlaw Star, we got so much animes, and I could even see, like he said, GI Joe.
mm,
This reminds me a little bit even of Expendables, like that
mm,
group, that family, like Fast and Furious, like that those family
Mm-hmm.
members getting together
mm,
for the first time because you got to go through war to become closer. But it
mm.
builds character. So I could see a lot of that character developing, the hero's journey that we all like and love with anime. Man, I like it. I like it. I'm glad that you're an anime fan. I real click with you with that one.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Me and Ebony went in the background. We was like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna have to go
Slip.
I
find
know, like I can say something. No,
That-
no, I'm just kidding.
though.
I mean-
Seriously, those are I see those influences there. I mean, even in the comic book,
Right.
they're kind of a fusion. So I love the fact that you put that together in that way.
Right.
We did have a question though on this stream. It says by Keynotes, how long did it take to come up with this story?
That's a really good question because I in 2009 is when I first thought of the idea about kind of doing a story like this. And so I just had a general kind of feel for it. And so I started I had Google Docs that I just started creating, and so I would start writing, thinking of characters. And, maybe I create somebody's character, maybe I create this timeline of events, some details about this particular part of the story, and I just did that over and over for 11 years before I actually started writing the script. And so it took a long time. It did. But as soon as I started writing the script and things started just kind of falling more in place, it didn't feel like it was. I mean, I've wrote the first 4 scripts already. I'm set to write script issue 5 and 6 in the next couple of months, and I don't feel like it'll take long to do them. I think working on the story for so long, for 10 years, when I write the script, is really not that hard because I kind of understand the in and out of how the book has to start and finish to go, to move along the story and push it, towards the main conflict.
That's dope.
Nice.
I do want to say, and I know Jen's gonna piggyback on this in the end, but your website, man, I don't know who did it for you. You have a beautiful website.
Thanks.
Right when I got out, I had a flex like, Jen, you see his website? It's perfect. Like it's organized. It gets you where you need to be. Story, everything. I definitely like your website.
Thanks. I did part of it. I'm a software engineer
Nice.
by day, and working on websites, kind of what I do. I don't do the design of it, but all of the kind of how it works, the function, and all of that, that's kind of me.
So you don't sleep. That's basically what you're telling me.
No. I mean, I got 2 daughters, so like I threw sleep away a long time ago.
Yeah, he don't sleep at all. At all.
I hear you.
My goodness. But goodness.
Miss
All right,
Keys is
so
up. Yes.
well, I just want to say one last thing before I end this. Keep moving on. You said before things are challenging, but the main thing is you are not giving up. You keep it on, and you're staying positive throughout the time that you're doing it. And that's what admires you, not me, but admires you because you're strong. You're a strong individual, and you got this. We got this. But all right, guys. But let me go ahead and say thank you to Jack Harris Jr. for joining us today. You are the best. You're amazing. We will also like to thank the comic book community, including our Illuminati Flex family. You know who you are.
Oh.
Again, remember to subscribe, like, share with all your people, and come back for future episodes with dope creators. Part 3 of Heroes in Crisis, dealing with social justice in comic books, and maybe you'll see us interviewing your favorite local comic shop, or LCS for short, as comic heads know. We are the dream team who will always bring things back to basics, y'all. So I am Miss Ebony Keys.
And I'm your boy Tempos.
And I'm Gen X, and we'd like to thank Jack Harris for coming through. I hope you had a good time.
Thank
We
you.
will see you next time, everybody,
Thank
on
you.
the dopest, flyest, and now your most favorite.
Where can they reach you?
podcast. Yeah, where can people reach you?
Yeah, reach us on Instagram. That's where we're mostly at, and that's at Terminus Bell, all one word. You could go to our site, terminusbell.com. We're on Facebook. We're on just started getting on TikTok. We're on Twitter as well. I want to just, so any of those places at Terminus Bell, you'll be able to find us. I want to say thank you to you all, Gen X, Miss Ebony Keys, Tempos. I appreciate it. This is it's been fun. It's a lot of fun, and you guys really have a great show.
You felt like you were in the living room with us in the family living room.
Yeah, like it was really cool. It was. I didn't feel uptight, or I wasn't like, it was really comfortable. I was worried that I might have to spit some bars because the chat was putting pressure on me.
Yeah, you have to.
But
you have to.
We're gonna bring you back for another interview
Okay.
down the line, and you gotta come up with something. We need some bars.
All right.
Can people actually request at the LCSs for your book and possibly help us push your book out into the stratosphere? Right. Is that a way that maybe we can support as well? That was the other question I was going to ask.
Not quite yet. After the Kickstarter in July, then yes, we'll be at that point. But right now we just been online, or you got to catch us when we're in city.
So we'll wait for you to press the button and say, alert, everybody, tell you else.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you guys emails, and I'll get on y'all Instagram and let y'all know, definitely.
Okay.
Cool, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Don't forget.
We really appreciate this. And as much as we can do on our platform and even on your platform, this is how we do things in business and in love and in friendship. So we appreciate you. Again, thank y'all for hanging out with your favorite crew, the B2B, aka Back to Basics, a comic book podcast group. And that is our show. Peace and be well, and make sure that you use your power for good and not for evil. Peace.
Bye.